Welcome to Conversations with Cubit, and thank you for joining me tonight. I hope you're prepared to be totally and completely inspired. If you're not ready, get ready right now. Let me start by telling you thank you for supporting these weekly conversations. The emails, the text messages, the countless inbox messages supporting these conversations continue to add value to my life and my team's life. I'm excited about tonight's conversation, I got to tell you, and I'm excited about our guest. I firmly believe that every single one of us have a unique purpose and great value. I also know that we often give up on each other far too often. That's why you need to hear from my guest tonight. And I hope you were able to catch the conversation last week, but if you missed it, if you missed any of those conversations, don't worry, I got you. We have uploaded them all to YouTube, along with all the other conversations. Just jump over to YouTube and look up Conversations with Cubit. Once you get there, hit the like button and the subscribe button. Then just browse away. You will not be disappointed. But before we get started tonight, I need you to do me a favor. I need you to share this conversation. Grab the young people in your life, bring them around, make them watch this. So hit the share button right now. Please share this conversation with your community. As always, I want to give a great big shout out and a big thank you to my friends at Green Pasture Studios, where we at tonight. They graciously host our weekly conversations. The studio is located in far east Oklahoma City, Spencer, Oklahoma, and they are doing really cool stuff out here. Everything from a full-fledged movie productions to commercials, and they even host a film training academy out here for those of you who are interested in getting involved in the film industry. Look them up online for more information. You'll be so glad you did. Now, as you know, I only have 3 simple goals for these conversations. 1 is add value to people and to my community. 2, I want to inspire you to believe in what people and communities can become when we're willing to work together. And last but not least, love people, period. And you do know, you can be nice without loving somebody, right? All this means is that I want you to be inspired and I want you to get useful information and resources. And I want to celebrate individuals, groups, and organizations who are making a positive impact on our community. Every conversation will be about information, inspiration, and hope. Now, let's get started. My guest tonight is a lovely lady. Her name is Sharquent Jacobs. Sharquent says she has been to hell and back. Before she was even old enough to drive, Sharquent turned to a life of addiction and crime. As a young adult, she developed an appetite for PCP and crack cocaine. She became part of L.A.'s darkest street life. She learned how to hustle and live on the streets, and eventually the law caught up with her. This was the experience that caused her to discover something more shocking than even her behavior. Despite her past and all she had done to negatively impact her community, she found out that Jesus still loved her. Sharquent stumbled upon Victory Outreach Church and a women's rehabilitation recovery program. This is where she found a pathway toward a higher purpose in life. The transformation is so remarkable, she wrote a book about it. The book is called Central L.A. Life. The book is unflinching and is recommended to at-risk youth, social service workers, and all those who have experienced the harder roads of life. Here to share her story of hope and healing is my new friend, Sharquent Jacobs. Welcome to Conversations with Cubit.
Thank you.
We got through it.
We did.
You feel like a movie star? I hope you feel like you're in the director's chair, you're in a movie studio, all the lights.
You're starting off right.
You're starting out right. Now, here's what we got to start out by. You're a newbie to Oklahoma.
I am.
Newbie to Oklahoma City. Only been here a couple of months because you came here. We interviewed Pastor Martin a few weeks ago. And so I know that it's a whole team of people came specifically to Oklahoma City. And so you can tell us a little bit about that. Before that, tell me your real, I love this place. I love this city. Give me the feedback. What do you think when you first got here? What was your thoughts?
Well, I'm not sure if it was because we came during COVID time, but it was nobody on the streets. We were shocked because in California, there's people everywhere. All over the streets. And we couldn't find anybody.
You don't know where you were at? Where were you at?
I'm not sure what part of Oklahoma, but there was no one out, period. Anywhere we went.
Daytime, nighttime?
Daytime. Nighttime.
Parks?
You
You don't see us that way right now, though. It's not that way now.
No, it's not.
So it must have been COVID.
So it had to be COVID. But we were shocked.
Right.
Because we were trying to pass out flyers for our church and our ministry, and because we was out here doing a crusade. I was just scouting out the land so we can put a base church out here, and there was no one. So we had to go to 7-Elevens and hang out and pass out flyers because
as people were coming in.
There was traffic.
Yeah. Right.
And we had to go to the marketplaces because there was traffic.
Right.
But just on the streets, no.
No.
And another thing is, you guys' weather is bipolar.
Oh,
my God.
Right.
It's straight bipolar.
Right.
It could be storming 1 minute, and the very next minute, the ground is dry and it's hot.
It's hot.
Yeah.
But it's hot in California.
Yeah, but we don't get it like this. This is this switches up like 3 or 4 different.
In a day.
In a day.
In a day. And our wind.
In
our
an
wind.
hour.
Yeah, in an hour. That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. So you got a good feel for it. But the people, what do you think about the people?
The people are great. I'm sorry, they're so sweet. The people are sweet. They're just naturally, genuinely sweet people, honestly.
We just wave, we speak, we give you directions.
Yeah.
You know,
naturally nice, man.
honey, sweetie, baby, it's all that. It's Oklahoma. That's the way.
For
Right?
sure,
You get a handshake, a smile, anywhere, but you still got to pay for everything. They ain't giving you nothing free.
They ain't giving you nothing free, right?
Right.
Oh my! I have a question for you.
Okay, go ahead.
What happened to the questions?
Well, you want to go? You want to do some? Okay.
I couldn't wait. The
All right.
ice cream.
Okay. All right. You want to go
I was
there?
looking forward for that.
Okay. All right. Here we go. All right. 15 questions.
Okay.
You ready?
I am.
TV, scary movie or comedy?
Comedy.
Comedy.
Yeah.
Okay. When you go to bed, TV on or TV off?
On.
All night?
I gotta hear something moving.
Gotta have something? All right. Do you prefer text messages or phone calls?
Depending, text message.
What does it depend on? What's the deciding factor?
What they're talking about. If it's just something simple, you can just text.
Don't waste my time.
If
That's
you're
right.
a good friend, you want to hang out and talk
That's
and
right.
chill, yeah.
That's right. Handshake or hug?
Hug all day.
All day. Wedding or birthday party?
Good one. I'm gonna have to say birthday party.
Birthday party.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Chris Rock, Will Smith.
Chris Rock. That was easy.
That's easy.
All day.
Now? Does the slap factor into this decision? No.
I never was a Will Smith fan.
Why? Come on.
I just like his song,
The Jazzy Jeff.
Yeah.
That one. Okay.
in West Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Born and raised.
Yeah.
But I never was a Will Smith fan.
All right. Do you call it in California? Is it pop or is it soda?
Soda.
The
Pop is
soda?
old school. That's what old
Pop is old school?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go give me a pop. That's old school.
All right. All right. All right. So my next question, is it sneakers or tennis shoes for you?
Tennis shoes.
Tennis shoes?
Yeah,
Is that just you? Or is that because I feel like they say sneakers in California?
For me, it's tennis shoes. I don't say go get your sneakers.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
Tennis shoes.
Right. What's worse, doing the dishes or doing the laundry?
The laundry.
Oh, I'm with you on that. First person that connected. First person that got that right. I hate doing the laundry.
All day. Yeah, I could knock dishes out easy.
Yeah, dishes, right? You can, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so the bad part about dishes is you wash them, you rinse them, you put them in the rack. You can eat from the rack. Like you can go, if I don't put them up right away, I can come back later and I can eat from there. You know what I'm saying? We're good.
Only
but
you.
Now, when you wash the clothes, you dry them, you put them in the hamper, and I hate folding and putting them up.
Exactly.
But you can't really dress out the hamper. You gotta.
Exactly.
So you're stuck. All right. So
point.
anyway, I hate the laundry. I hate the laundry.
Yeah.
That's a good job. You did good with this. Oh, wait a minute. Did I ask you? Have you had? Oh yes. I got to ask you this one. One job left. Got to pick one. Policeman or fireman?
Well, since I know you, I'm gonna say policeman.
You got it right. The rest of them know me too. You see
Pastor Martin said fireman. He was like, already?
That's right. That is the right choice, even if you wouldn't pick any one of them. That's the right choice.
That's the right choice.
Right. So let's get into your remarkable story. Your bio says that you were involved in a life of crime in addiction at a very young age. Can you start by telling us a little bit about your childhood? And
Well, we were raised by a single parent, my mother. It was 10 of us.
10
of us in a house and raised by a single parent. And that was very extremely hard for her. I don't even know how anyone can do it without mentally losing it, which she did.
Yeah.
So
Where are you in the 10?
I'm the seventh.
Seventh. So
Yes.
there had some quite a bit older and some young. Okay.
So I'm like right there, yeah. And so we just had a rough childhood growing up. If I could just describe it a little bit, like normal people have tables to eat on. We didn't eat on tables. Never in our childhood have we ever ate on a regular table. We always ate on the floor, newspaper, always, all of our childhood. We weren't able to watch TV. We were raised Seventh-day Adventists. So we weren't able to watch TV like hardly ever, especially on the Sabbath day. We couldn't do anything. That was boring. And it was just, my mother had a mental problem. She had a mental issue. So she looked homeless, but she wasn't homeless. If you look at her, if you take any homeless person in the streets right now, and you could parallel my mother to them, and she would look just like them. But only difference is these people are actually homeless. My mother wasn't. She had a house. You would never know she had a house with 10 kids in there. So she always looked homeless, and she always brought all this. She had an addiction to dumpster diving. That was an addiction, and she'd rather do that than be home with us. So we were always left home alone all the time, and scared at nights. And so she would every day she would spend her. She would carry grocery carts, buggies. You see homeless people pushing a buggy.
Yeah.
Well, they push. Well, my mother was pushing too, and she brought all this stuff home. So she became a major hoarder. Major hoarder. I mean, in every room we had trails. So trails through the junk, trail to the restroom, trail to the bedrooms, trail to the back door. We had trails, and we were little children, and in these trails and junk, there were a bunch of rodents. Tons of them. They was in the mattress. I used to always try to figure out how they get in. I used to lay on the bed. You could hear them squeaking. Like, how did they get in the mattress? That was my big thing. How did they get in there? In the roofs. You hear them all over the whole house.
Wow.
And so that was kind of mental. That was kind of hard for us, you know. So that was our upbringing. She would go in the dumpsters and get our food. The majority of our food came from dumpsters. There was a supermarket, Ralph's, up the street from our house, and we would always see her over there in the dumpsters. She would get the milk, the cheese, the vegetables, the bologna. A lot of our food came from the dumpsters, so we never could understand our mom, like what was wrong. Like we were just we're not normal kids. We just wanted to be normal kids.
Right.
So a lot of child abuse because you have 10 kids. So if somebody does something and nobody tells who did it, we all gonna get it. That way she made sure she get the right one.
Right.
Said, I'm gonna get the right one.
Right.
So that was
That's a universal law. Like, yeah.
But that's what it was. It is. But that's what our childhood was like, man. And we grew up like that all of our lives. And we were always in and out of foster home because the neighbors would call the police because there was this lady with all these children. But this house was horrendous. Even in the backyard, every room in the house was packed with junk. In the backyard, packed with junk.
So neighbors would call in and say, check on these kids.
And we would, the people would come pick us up, the social services come pick us up, haul us off to the foster home, and to my mother straighten out the house. And then my mother would straighten out the house, and we would all go back. And it was like, whoa, it was weird. Like you could see the whole floor. It was weird.
How many times did that happen?
I would say about 3 or 4 times. It was the weirdest thing ever. We didn't even know how to function in a normal house, you know. So yeah, but they would haul us back and forth in foster care. Yeah. So.
Yeah. When did you start identifying with street life? When did the addiction and all this kind of stuff?
Well, we were young. We were babies in the streets, babies. And we had a brother that was, he just had his way with all the girls in the house. My mother was always gone, so while she was gone, he would watch us. And he just did his thing, whatever he wanted to do to all of us. He was just crazy. He was a monster. And we had to live with this monster every day. And so I just kind of I just got tired and I just ran away. I don't know if I was maybe 13, and I ran away, and we was just in the streets, man, and I just had to get away from him. Like,
now, when you said we, you ran away with other siblings?
No, just me.
Yeah.
Me, I ran away.
Yeah.
And so they all probably followed, you know, because that was our way of getting, you know, we just had to leave.
Right.
I had to leave.
Where did you go? What was the plan?
We just started hanging out. You know, you just find little street kids out there. It was no plan. Just get out of this house.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I ran away. I can remember the day I ran away. I don't know what caused me to run away, but I took off. I ran out the house, and I could hear my brother in the background. I was a little girl. I could hear my brother in the background say, "Catch her, Locke," because my brother's name is Locke, and my other brother. And he was saying, and he told him, he was telling my brother, "Catch her, go get her." And I was running. I wrapped my arms around this brown telephone pole, and I held on for dear life. For dear life. I was a baby, and my brother tried to pull me off, tried to peel my arms away, and I was crying like, "No, don't take me back." You know, I was crying. And he let me go. He just let go and turned off and walked away. I took off. That was it. I was in the streets.
Yeah.
And you find other little street kids that are on weed and cigarettes. That's when we started the weed. That's when we started the cigarettes. We were too young to be sexually active, but that's when the drugs came in, when you hit the streets. So you're running from one problem into another one, the streets.
Right.
I'd rather do the street problem than to be at home.
Did your mom ever find you? Did your mom look for you?
Well, once she did. Some guy called her. There was a lot of predators back in those days. Mm-hmm. Lots of them, and that was back then. That was in the 80s, the late 70s, early 80s. And I was in the backyard with one of them. I'm not sure if we were in elementary school or not. Everything I remember was elementary school. I remember that. And me and this guy was in the backyard, somebody's backyard, and older guy, he's probably like 50 years old, and some guy came out of his house. We was in his backyard. He came out of his house with a shotgun, and he cocked it back, and he just started yelling at us. "What are you doing?" He called the guy a pervert, cussed him out, and he held me till my mom got there. Mm-hmm. And I was scared. I was like, "Oh my God," because she never knew anything. All this time, she never knew nothing. Mm-hmm. And so my mom came and picked me up, and I was afraid, but I was happy. She looked so disappointed and hurt. She had pain in her eyes, and for me it was therapeutic because we've been doing this and you just now finding out. So I was like, I felt like, you know what I'm saying?
She's gonna do something now.
No, I ain't feel like that. I know she was.
You know she wasn't gonna do.
I was just happy that you're in pain. Because we've been in pain all this time.
I get it.
And you could see the pain in her eyes. I was like, good. I loved it.
Right.
Because you just finding this out, but we've been going through this.
And this was abuse. This was sexual abuse.
Sexual abuse.
Right.
We were in a backyard, me and an older guy. That was our life. And our brother started it. Mm-hmm. See, so he started it, so he paved the way, you know what I'm saying, to the catalyst to these guys, because we didn't know any better. So we were, okay, this is normal then.
Right.
Okay, it's normal. So this is what we do. We can't eat. There's no food in the house. We're not eating. We open the refrigerator. There's maggots. There's green water. There's green bologna. There's no food and 10 kids, and you're not even at home. You're in the streets. So what do? Well, our brother taught us what to do. So we just, change partners. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. My goodness.
Yeah.
Well, take us to the next step. So you're a teenager. You're on the street.
Yeah.
And I imagine the abuse continues. Like you say, you run from one place to another, from one problem to another. What was the next step? What was the next progression of pain?
From the weed to the marijuana to the hanging out at the pool halls with older guys and just hanging out in the streets, living pillar to post, pillar to post, pillar to post. We didn't have nowhere to stay. So we would go to old guys' houses, and we don't know these old guys, and they're drinking, and they're getting high, and we're little kids, so we're scared to death, but we got to sleep somewhere, so we're sleeping scared by the front door. As long as I sleep by the front door or a window, I'm good, because I can exit. I can bust the window out and get out, Mm-hmm. So me and my sister, we always slept by the doors, always. And there's this thing in L.A. called, you have to sleep ready roll. Sleep ready roll means don't take off your shoes, don't take off your jacket, keep everything on so you be ready to roll if something go down. So we always slept with everything on. We don't know these people. So eventually it progressed. I went from weed to PCP, what I said I'd never do. And I was a major PCP head, all day and all night, all day and all night. And from there, I said I'd never go to crack cocaine. I went to crack cocaine. And that was worse. PCP is a downer. Everybody could afford that. You $5, you can get that all day long. But in the 80s, when crack hit the scene, that's uppers. You're running. You're trying to jack somebody, rob somebody, do whatever you can to get this. And so when I got introduced to crack cocaine, then I became institutionalized. I was in and out of jail. Because now I have to rob, I have to steal. You don't have to rob and steal on PCP. It's affordable. But on crack cocaine, you have to, it's one of them highs that they last 5 minutes and you're back out there, you're back out there, you're back out there. So I started robbing and stealing and jacking folks. And I'm from South Central, so I was thugging hard. And I was jacking everybody I came across. Everybody I came across. You're gonna give it up, you know, so I won't get it, so you might as well give it up. So
you're involved in weapons?
My mother didn't let me too much carry weapons because she was Jesus, the Lord, God, hallelujah.
But now, so mom is still involved in your life at this point?
I'm in the streets, but...
So who's stopping you from carrying weapons?
Well, because I was raised, my mother I was raised with, you hear that.
You're
going to reap what you sow. You pay for what you do, Sharquent. So you hear that all your life. So when you're in the streets, there's a little bit of a holdback. You know, so we came across guns and all that, but I just sold them. But we had friends that had guns, and they would just pull up on you and stick a gun in your face and you giving it up. And I had little weapons here and there, but my mother would not let me keep them. Thank God. Because I'd probably be in prison today. No question about it. Or dead. So I'm so grateful. She just didn't believe in it. And I would be crying like, Mom, I'm in the streets. Like, what do you mean? She said, no, give it to me, Charquin. So I ran across a few weapons, but she would never. So I was just fists in the streets.
Yeah.
I was just fists, and the gangs taught me everything I knew. The gangs, you know how every gang has a hangout spot?
Yeah.
Well, the hangout spot was on our street. And I was little, and I would study the gangs. I would study how they fight.
And this is before you ran away.
Yeah, I would study them. I was at home on my porch, and they hung out on our street. It was every day. I'm talking about full-fledged gangs, not the stuff they got today. And I would study them, and I would watch them every day, how they fought, because when they fought, they would stomp you. You know what I'm saying? And kick your teeth in. And I loved it. I was like, what? I was just taking it all in, so I became this animal, female animal. And so then when I did hit the streets, I was that person that I seen. And they were discipling me without me knowing it, unbeknownst to me and to them as well. But I was studying them all the time, every day. And so once I got involved in crack and in and out of jail, so you're in a jailhouse.
What were the things you were getting arrested for?
Robbery, stealing everything.
But it was a juvenile, so the accountability was low.
Grand Theft Auto was my first. I was driving in a car with a bunch of gang members. And that was my first arrest. I was driving in a car, they banging, they jump in the car, let's go, cuz. And we just jump in the car with them, and the next, it was a Grand Theft Auto, and it was actually a van. And the next thing you know, we had cops around us like we had robbed a bank or murdered somebody. I mean, you've seen sirens behind you, and I'm little, I'm young. And they were just on our trail, man. And so we with these gang members, we're like, stop, stop. And they wouldn't stop. So he was like, well, I'm gonna stop and you guys jump out. And so he stopped the van and we jumped out. We were kids, man. We jumped out and tumbled all over the ground. And we got up and started running, and the police was behind me. And he was like, stop, stop. And I just kept running, and he took the butt of the gun and bow, just bust me in the back of the head. And I was out, I was laid out. Had to get stitches, and he told my mom I was that close from getting shot in the back, that close. And I was so thuggish and so tomboyish when he hit me in the head, because I was looking like a little dude, you know, had big clothes on, because you have so many predators in the street, so you want to cover up. You don't want nobody to see you. So I was real tomboyish, very athletic. And I was, when I went down to the ground, I was screaming, I'm a girl, I'm a girl, I'm a girl. 'Cause I don't want to jack me up like
right, like a boy, right.
I'm a girl, I'm a girl. And yeah, he just hit me and I went down. So I was that close to getting shot in the back. I'm like, who? I got shot in the back anyway, so what difference did it make?
You've even been shot?
Yeah, I've been shot. I still have the bullet in my back. It's that close to my spine. Literally, if I show you the picture, it's that close to my spine. I got shot by a gang member. Fighting some girls, and I guess they were upset because I just didn't have no back down, you know what I'm saying? So it was two of them, and let's go, you know? So I just felt like, it's go time, let's go. I'm not finna back down. So then their friend, who was a gang member, Blood, seen somebody running with a gun.
And it makes you, Yeah, and being in a gang doesn't make you more safe. It just makes you more vulnerable. And, right?
Yeah, facts.
You're facts.
And
yeah.
I've never been in a gang. I was affiliated with them. They hung out on my streets. We knew each other, but I was
To a
never.
police officer, guess what that is? The same thing.
It is. It's funny you say that.
The same thing.
Because every time I got locked up, they would tell me, okay, stand against that wall. And I'm like, okay. They said, okay, throw up your gang signs. Like, what gang signs? They said, throw up your gang. Everybody associated with me with that. I don't care what I tell them, so I stopped telling people. When people testify, oh, she was in a gang, okay, whatever. Because it doesn't do no good.
Doesn't do any good.
Yeah. So to the police officer,
same thing.
why? How's that?
Well, so it's the same thing. It's because they ain't doing nothing you won't do. What's the difference in their behavior and your behavior?
Right. Facts.
Fact. You know,
Wow.
I mean, so it is what it is.
Wow.
But technically, I guess I can see in you know, people want to associate themselves with whatever is better, right? And if I'm able to say I'm not part of that gang
Right.
or this gang, that makes me
Right.
better
Makes you
than
feel-
them.
Yeah.
And the police officer saying,
Yeah.
you rob, you steal, you kill, you
Yeah.
destroy.
I couldn't convince them that I couldn't,
Right.
to this day, I can't convince anybody. So I just let it go and say, okay, well, she was in the game, okay, sure.
That's right.
But in my testimony, I don't say that.
Now, for the young people that are listening, talk about the mindset that you had then and the mindset that they might have right now, that it's a total lie.
Well, I think that the mindset, repeat that again?
So to me, there's a mindset you were operating in. You were operating in a truth that you later found out that was false.
Right.
Right. And so there's a 10, 11, 12, 13, 14-year-old that is living similar circumstances that you were. Their circumstances are telling them a bunch of lies. Right. That they're operating in those lies. Tell them the truth.
I think that one of the biggest lies is that they think that they'll never get caught. That's a lie. You think that. You think you'll never get caught. You think you'll never go to jail. You think you'll never become a drug addict because, you know, although you're associating with all these people and you're there with them, and I don't know, I don't understand how we think that if we're with them every day, you know what I'm saying, and that we're doing the same things that they're doing, living the same lifestyle, that we'll never get caught. I'm young, I'll never go to prison because I'm young. You know what I'm saying? Or I'll never become a drug addict. Yeah, you can become. No one sets out to become a drug addict. No one sets out to be a jailbird. No one sets out for this stuff. You know, so it's the biggest lie that it can happen to you. You know, especially if you're hanging with the wrong crowd. If you're hanging with the wrong crowd, it's not if, it's when.
It's
if
when.
you're hanging, it's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
I can remember when I stepped foot off the porch, when backtracking, and I was hanging out with these girls. I had my first love, my first boyfriend, and he had two sisters, and I was hanging out with them. And my mother could look at him and tell, she said, Charquin, you hang with the wrong crowd. And because I was so hurt by you, I couldn't hear you. You did the damage. I can't hear you. You know, you allowed everything that took place. You allowed it. So I can't hear you. So she said, Charquin, you're hanging with the wrong crowd. You're hanging with the wrong crowd. And she told me, don't leave the yard. And I'll never forget. That was the beginning of, I left the yard, and that was it. It was over.
Right.
My life drastically changed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's move forward a little bit. Tell us about, you wrote this marvelous book here, and just doing a little research on it, it tells all of these stories and in more detail and stuff, but it also has a turnaround.
It does.
It has a place in the sand where it changes.
Yeah.
So take us to the low part, and then take us to transformation.
Okay, so when you say low part, meaning?
Where was it when you knew you had to change?
Well, I'll tell you, the low part, okay, I get it. The low part for me was when I was hanging out on Figueroa Boulevard, which is the main boulevard in Los Angeles, one of the main boulevards out there. And I was just out there hanging out, selling drugs, smoking drugs, doing anything I was big and bad enough to do. And some old school friends came up to me. I don't know how they found me. I knew them years back. Hadn't seen them in years.
How old were you then at this point?
Probably about 21, 22.
Okay.
And they came and got me, and they said, we want you to take care of this girl for us. And I was like, okay. They said, we're going to give you drugs. You take care of her. First of all, how did you guys find me? I haven't seen you guys in years. Second of all, how do you know what I can do? How do you even know what I'm capable of doing, right? Mm-hmm. So they came, I was still shocked. And so they came and got me, and I said, okay, let's go. So I went with him, and he said, go knock on that door. And if a light-skinned girl opens the door, just come back and let us know. So I went to make like I was at the wrong house, and I asked for the fictitious name. I said, hey, is Tina here? And when the girl opened the door, I knew she was the one right away. So I was like, okay, sorry, wrong house. And I went and told them. I said, she's there. She answered the door. So they come. I didn't know what was going on. I was just trying to get high. They come with guns to the house, send her out. They pulling out guns. First the people were like, she's not here. They pull out guns. We're going to shoot this whole house down if y'all don't. So they was like, here, take her. So they sent her. They gave her to the guy, and we went to this house. And I went to the house. They had whips and chains and bats. I'm like, oh my God, what did I walk into? They was sitting around the house just waiting on her. So they put her in a chair in the middle of the floor, and I just commenced to whipping on her. Bad. Hands, feet, everything. And as I was doing that, they were feeding me the drugs. I was a drug addict. And every time I hit the drugs, I would go to work on her. And every time I would hit the drugs, I would go to work on her. And that was a pivotal moment for me, because the next day I seen her. So they held her hostage. I guess she had robbed them of the guns and drugs and money, whatever. So the next day I seen her. And when I seen her, I couldn't even look her in the face. I just couldn't. She looked like Elephant Woman. I'm like, man, you're a real monster, you know? So it really changed my life, major. So I guess shortly after that, my mother kept telling me, go to Victory Outreach, go to Victory Outreach. And I was like, Victory Outreach, what is that? You know? But I knew if it had anything to do with her, it had something to do with Jesus.
Yeah, you're right. Right.
That's all I knew. And so she said, go to Victory Outreach, go to Victory Outreach. It was shortly after that, and I was like, I felt so bad, even to this day. So I was like, I'm running, Mom. You know, and she kept saying, go to Victory Outreach, go to Victory Outreach. I'm like, no, I'm running. But when I got tired, I went to jail. And they told me, we're going to give you 3 years. I have a long rap sheet like that. They said, if you come back in here for jaywalking, spitting on the ground, anything, you're going up for 3 years. I didn't want to go to the big house. I didn't want to go to prison. So I had a public defender, whatever you call him. And she came. They said, you have a visit. She came to see me. She says, okay, you're going to be on probation. And I was like, well, can you give me testing too? She looked at me. Who asked for testing? No, you want to get out and go do drugs, right? Yeah, right. So she said, what? And I said, can you give me testing, please? I begged her. And she said, you really want to change? And I said, yeah, please. I said, please. I said, I know you. She said, I'll see what I can do. I said, I know you could do it. Sure enough, when I got out, I was on testing. And that was like the biggest. Now I'm not doing drugs. Just how the devil works. Now I'm not doing drugs, but now I'm selling drugs. And I'm in the hotel selling drugs to everybody. Smoke crack everywhere, but I'm not smoking it because I can't smoke. And now I'm just selling it and drinking. And so eventually my mom, I just got tired. And my mom walked me through the doors of Victory Outreach. Uh-huh. Woo! Yeah. She walked me through the doors. And they gave me some numbers to call. And I called the numbers, and one number, someone answered in the San Fernando Valley, Victory Outreach, with Elder, the late, great Pastor David Martinez and Sister Faith. Got to get that plug. And so I went, I was at home, and I was packing my stuff, right? I was packing my stuff. And I went to my mom. She was sitting on the couch. She always watched TBN. And I said, Mom, I'm going into the home. And she didn't hear me. She said, no, she did not hear me at all. And she's sitting on the couch, and I'm standing with her. I said, Mom, I'm going to the home. She didn't hear me. So I went back in the room, and I started packing my bags. I brought all my bags to the living room. And I said, Mom, I'm going in the home. And she jumped up off the couch. And she gave me a kiss for the first time. One kiss my whole life. One. And she jumped up. She was so excited, and she jumped up, and she gave me a kiss, and I was like, what the heck is this? I literally wiped it off like that. Literally, like, what the heck, you know? Never been kissed by my mom before. And she was so excited. She gave me a kiss, and that was it. Never looked back. It's been 32 years. Yeah. Yeah. By the grace of, I was 23 years old when I went into that Victory Outreach Women's Home, and I'm 56 now. Yeah. And I've never looked back. Right. I've never looked back. And so I understand when you say love people, love people, love people.
Period.
Period. Period.
Period.
Yeah. So I get it. I understand it. That's my passion. I went on to direct women's homes. I directed 3 women's homes in my life. I directed 2 in San Diego. One of those homes in San Diego, we had 20 women, me and Sister Liz. And then they sent me to Baltimore, Maryland, which is hardcore people. And I went out there and pioneered the women's home from the ground up, and we had 30 women constantly. So that's my passion. And it's my passion, you know. I hope to someday open a homeless shelter. I was homeless for many years. I hope to open some kind of a homeless. That's my heart. I don't usually share my vision because you have a lot of dream killers.
Yeah.
But by
there's some
faith,
dream catchers too, right? You got to speak to dream catchers too.
Yes,
right.
That's exactly why I'm saying what I am saying.
Right.
Because that's my passion, is for homeless people, but not just any kind of homeless shelter, but like ones where it's a home, not a building, a home where you have computers and in the rooms, where they have carpets
and a kitchen and a living room,
kitchen and pictures
I
on
get
the
it.
wall.
I can see it. You
carpets.
Draw it, girl. Draw it. I can see it.
Yeah. Or it could be that, or it could be, you know, rehabilitation. As long as it's people. It could be girls that are good. You have kids that are in foster care, and when they get 18, they cap out, and they just put them out. Where you go? Well, there has to be a net to catch them. It's the same thing if you have a nephew. He just got out of prison doing 25 years. So a lot of times you have these prison guys, and I know prison is horrendous. And when these guys get out, they go right back in. So there's something where God's going to place me. I'm a female. I wouldn't do anything prison like that by myself. But yeah, so.
Yeah.
I know God.
So Oklahoma City, what have you been here for a month or so?
Good question. Before you even ask the question.
Okay. Yeah. What is the hope? What are you bringing to Oklahoma City? What do you see that Oklahoma City needs that you can have, that you bring in?
I think that, you know, I watch 48 Hours a lot, and 48 Hours really showed me how close I came to doing life in prison. Brings it home every time, because I was with those people,
right,
doing those things, just the grace of God. But I think we need a rehabilitation, someplace for these young guys that are pulling the triggers and shooting these guns. They're not afraid to tote a gun. They're not afraid to shoot the gun, and they're definitely not afraid to kill somebody. So we need some kind of a shelter, a discipleship home. I know our pastor back home in San Diego, Pastor Al Valdez, he speaks about discipleship homes. I like that word better, because they're not just coming into a rehab or something, you know, just there. No, but you're being discipled, you know. So we need somewhere to put these. I mean, you got babies doing life, 15, 16 years old, doing life, and they're not afraid to murder somebody. But what if we had a discipleship home where we can go to these neighborhoods, because that's what Victory Outreach do. We go to the worst places. We're not afraid, because we come from there. So we go to, what if we go there and get these guys and talk to these guys, because obviously ain't nobody watching them, no way, 15, 16, and bring them into these discipleship homes where they can put down, even if it's one person, we stop from going to prison. You feel me? And get these homes and bring these young guys in there, man. These third wavers, we call them in our church, these young adults. And imagine having 20 guys, 15 guys in a discipleship home that are not going to prison, that are not murdering somebody, you know. So that's just what's in my head. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, we want it all.
Yeah.
Join the team.
Yes.
Yeah, like the community wants to me, I think the community needs people that to serve everybody, to make sure that everybody gets served.
Facts.
Everybody.
Facts.
Now, in the people that you're called to, it may not be the people that I'm called to, but please send somebody that's called to everybody.
Yeah.
You know, please.
Yeah.
And so I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you being obedient to your calling. And I thank God for your life, for saving your life and introducing himself to you in a very personal and real way.
He did.
Right?
He did that.
Right. And then thank God for introducing me to you.
Yeah.
Now, tell us really more, because we want to support you. Tell us, how do we support you? And then how do we get this book into the hands of people that need to read it?
So the book is on Amazon.com. You can go right there and purchase the book.
Right.
I'm trying to get it on different other platforms and websites, but for right now, you can purchase it on Amazon. I actually written 3 books.
3 books. Man,
Yeah.
That's a whole nother. Tell us, how
nother.
did you even get to putting this into, who inspired this?
Wow, look, I thought we was getting ready to close great.
Yeah. Who inspired this?
My ex-husband.
Okay.
He kept telling me, I was married 17 years and married in the church and all that. And he kept telling me, you should write a book, you should write a book. Because I was telling him my stories, but I wouldn't tell anybody else because he's my husband.
Right.
And he kept telling me, you should write a book. No, you should write a book. No. So eventually I wrote the book. Yeah, I have two other books that are already written. I just have to have them edited and published. My second book is titled Dance Again, A Mother's Loss. And the third book is Marriage, What Not to Do.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting, and I know we're going to come to close, but what's interesting is I know we're going to keep talking right after the camera's closed, so I'm going to keep rolling. You know what's interesting is you talk about your mom and all the pain that she was the source of, but you also talk about your mom in the source of all of your healing too. You talk about the kiss. You talk about her walking you to Victory Outreach Church. You talk about her at so many levels. It's just interesting. I don't know what I'm trying to say, except it's just really, really interesting that we cannot characterize a person as this one thing. Like we're a whole thing. Like if you put your mother was a pie chart, like that addiction to dumpster diving, it's just part of who she is, right? The mental illness is just part of who she is. But other parts of her, all is filled with love for her kids.
You sure know how to take it home, right?
No, I mean, I just want people to see that there's more to people than the pain they cause.
It really is. It's so funny that you put it like that, because she was that pie chart. She was those categories, but she taught me everything I know. I am who she was, and I hated her. She was so friendly to everybody, and I hated it. Like, why are you put the babies down? You don't even know them, you know? And she was talk to anybody. I hated that in her, and now I'm the same way. I can talk to anybody. I don't care who you are, right? And she was so sweet and lovable, and she loved people, and I'm the same way. And even though I had a deep hatred for her, she was the apple of my eye. Yeah. Sometimes you have to write. I wrote her a letter and let her know everything that we went through as children that maybe she did not know. And I wrote her this letter, and sometimes the kids have to get it out. And I wrote it down, and I said, I hated your guts, you allowed this, I hate it. And then I said, but I forgive you and I love you, and that was it. And she became the apple of my eye. Just had to get it out. And she became the apple of my eye. She's my
forgiveness
heart.
is as much for you as it is for it is very little for them. It's everything for you.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I loved her. She went on to glory. She went on to be with the Lord, and so many things I've been through in life. I wish she was here.
Yes.
She was a woman of few words, but just her presence. And I'm just grateful that we made peace before she passed on.
That's right.
I don't like to live with regrets, and she was just the apple of my eye. And I loved her so. As much hate as I have for her, as how great the love was for her.
That it is.
Yeah.
That's good. So you got it right there. Appreciate you being on here. It is South Central L.A. Life by my friend Sharquent Jacobs. Check it out. Get it on Amazon. We got all the social media stuff right there. You can connect with her. And I have it on good authority that she will come and talk to your girls. I know she will. That's it for Conversations with Cubit. Thank you so much. We appreciate you joining us tonight.